In each of her lessons, English teacher Danielle Alexich is striving to teach her students much more than just how to write an essay or who wrote the classics. She wants them to understand the incredible power of the written word to change lives.
I really try not to teach anything that can't be applied to their lives, to the greater world. And I think literature really gives us a window into human experience and conflict and trying to resolve those conflicts. So, and as far as the poetry piece, I invite students to take a really close look at language. And one of the things about poetry that I love, and one of the things about studying poetry that I love, is it forces us to take a close look at language. And poets, every word is a deliberate choice. Every punctuation mark is a deliberate choice. And if students can take a look at language that closely, I believe that that experience translates into their essay writing as well. And they can communicate with impact and a heartbeat.
I think being a poet herself, first of all, connects her to the world in ways that are reflective and compassionate, and gives, and her passion for that language really translates to students. I think that's a big part of it, but it's also her understanding of the power of language and as an art form and how it can impact the world, and how she helps students understand that when they write and when they express themselves, how important that is to their communities and to the world.
Yeah, help them be more productive, better human beings. Yeah, the heartbeat element in literature is really important to me, and in their writing, but also the critical thinking. I really encourage students to, well, for example, one of the essays we do in their senior year is a perspective essay. It's not an argument essay. I always tell my students argument has clearly not gotten our culture very far. And so what they do with the perspective essay is they are asked to invite readers to think more deeply and sensitively about a topic. That's their goal. And if they can do that, then that's fine. Of course, they have to support what they say, but it's not about changing somebody's mind. And I think that's true of life too. We a lot of times hear that cognitive dissonance is a bad thing, and it causes mental unrest, like you smoke even though you know it gives you cancer, and somehow you have to do something to decrease that dissonance. Where I'm not so sure all the time that when it comes to learning, that dissonance isn't a positive thing. Just like in music, sometimes that dissonant chord is really kind of the coolest part of the music piece. And it's okay to hold two opposing ideas in your head at one time. We do it all the time. We do it with our relationships. Wow, I really love this person in my family, even though this person in my family has political beliefs completely different than mine. It doesn't mean I can't see both sides. So they do that. I try to encourage them to do that with their writing and their thinking and their discussions.
Seeing both sides of a situation and seeking deeper understanding of others is something Miss Alexich believes can be taught through great art and literature.
Okay, you can read a newspaper article about the war and find out how many people, how many casualties there were, and maybe some of the strategies, or maybe not. But as far as that deep experience, you'd have to read a poem like Dulce et Decorum Est, Wilfred Owen, where you really get the feel of what it's like to carry your friend who's dying in your arms on the battlefield. And so there's something about literature that mirrors that deeper experience and feeling. I know this sounds kind of emo and touchy-feely, but I'm not, it isn't really. Because good art does that to us. It stirs that up in us, and so that we feel it and we think about it.
I think when Danielle teaches, I think that because she's in touch with, through her writing, with the world, I think she brings the students a way of reflecting. She shows them how she reflects about things. I think sometimes people make quick judgments about things, but I think Danielle, because she's such a reflective person, and because she writes and uses writing to do that, through her poetry and other ways, I think she shows kids that they need to think from all different perspectives, and they need to bring all those perspectives to bear on their experience.
Yeah, I just like to pull those threads. I like my students too, and they do. They're great at it.